Welcome to NewsMakers. I'm Mike Briggs. Why am I here? Well, it has to be more than a coincidence that I'm descended from both sides of my parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and on in an uninterrupted line all the way back to the very first humans. Whether you believe that was thousands, millions, or billions of years ago, all of my ancestors were attractive enough to find a mate, healthy enough to reproduce, and to survive without being squashed, devoured, drowned, starved, stranded, stuck fast, or otherwise deflected from their drive to deposit a teeny charge of genetic material to the right partner at the right moment in history, resulting in my presence here today. Welcome to NewsMakers with Mike Briggs. Join us each Wednesday at 3 p.m. on Central Valley Talk, YouTube, or Facebook.
Carolco, the Valley's leader for no-cost energy upgrades. Now installing AC motors, Nest thermostats, insulation, and more. COVID-19 safe. Call Carolco at 559-396-3939 and visit carolco.net.
Clovis Community College may be free for you to attend. Call 325-5239 or visit cloviscollege.edu for details. We offer general education classes for transfer and short-term training programs.
Welcome to NewsMakers. I'm Mike Briggs, coming to you from this chair for 12 years now. Can you believe it? Talking to community leaders, statewide leaders, people making policy and running our government and affecting our lives. That's what we do here, NewsMakers with Mike Briggs. We're on each Wednesday at 3 o'clock, so if you're watching at some other time, we're not live right now. Check us out on our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, type Central Valley Talk, we'll pop up and you'll see all of our NewsMakers episodes. Our guest today, by the way, this is our COVID edition, so it's going to look like I'm sitting right next to my guest. We're really about 8 feet apart here. Our guest is Supervisor, Fresno County Supervisor, Buddy Mendes. Welcome, Supervisor Mendes.
Well, thank you, Mike. Glad to be here.
Now, you're one of 5 supervisors for the whole county.
Correct, one of 5, yeah.
But you have like a majority of the cities, right? Tell me what cities.
Well, I have 9 cities. It's, let me attempt to name them all. Kalinga, Huron, Fowler, Selma, Kingsburg, Reedley, and Sanger.
Yeah, and Sanger. There you go.
And then I have 9 unincorporated communities.
9 a lot, like Tranquility and Selma.
No, Tranquility's in Bryans, but
Brian
I have
Pacheco's,
Riverdale, Crothers, Layton, Delray.
Yeah. And we're going to get to some big issues in a minute, but the supervisors, you're over all the county functions, like funding the sheriff, the jails, the juvenile hall, health departments. What else?
Correct. And of course, a lot of people forget the great welfare state. The rubber hits the road at county level. So our biggest department is Department of Social Services. There's 4,200 people work over there. And
just in social services.
Right. And they'll probably deal out about over $1 billion, about $1.5 billion.
Right. And that's state and federal funds?
Yeah, most of it's federal, all the ones you can think of.
Right.
That, people get, CalFresh, all those programs. They're all ran by social services.
Now, we're actually shouting at each other. We're really a long way apart. I know it looks like I can't reach over and touch them.
Yeah, not even close.
So we don't want people calling and saying, where's your mask? You guys aren't following the rules. Because when Supervisor Mendes came in the door, he had on his mask, and we got him in his disinfected spot over there. Yeah. Now, do you do some funding for the hospitals, too?
Not anymore. We sold the county hospital and the whole contract and everything to CRMC.
Okay.
So, that we kind of got out of that. But there's still some counties, Kern County's still in the hospital business.
There's a hospital business. That's a tough business. Anyway, especially right now.
Right. You don't want to be in that business.
So you've got all these services you're managing for the county, and it's big. Your budget's billions and billions of dollars, I'd imagine. And now all of a sudden we drop COVID into the middle of it. And it's up to you guys to set policy and figure out.
Right, because
stuff.
Dr. Vora and Dave Palmerville, the Department of Health, is part of the county.
Okay.
So we've got to, make sure all that gets managed. We had basically told Dave Palmerville at the beginning of this I'll call it deal, hey, look, if you need us, don't worry about your budget. Take care of what has to be done. If we have to backfill it, we'll backfill it. Do not do something because you don't feel like, okay, it's not in our budget. No, do it.
Okay.
And then we'll backfill it.
Now, is this the guy we see him on TV all the
Yes,
time? Or they call him the interim director.
No, he's the director. Vora is the interim health officer.
Health officer. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Now,
He's actually a very interesting guy,
Yeah.
Mike.
we see him on TV every day.
Yeah, he actually, at least once a week, pulls a 12-hour shift
I bet he
in
does.
the ER in CRMC.
Oh, he does, because
Yes.
he's a doctor.
He's a doctor, a real one. He's not like Joaquin Arambula, a fake one.
All right. So, COVID hits. Is it a hoax?
No, this thing's real, but here's some of the hoax. We have the governor with his dimmer switch and all this
Yeah.
fancy stuff. No, the problem isn't because businesses opened up. It's because of unregulated gatherings. And that could be anything.
Right.
A bunch of guys getting together and drinking after work.
Having a poker game?
Right, having a poke, it doesn't matter. Young kids getting together, okay, we're going to go to the river, we're going to go to the lake, we're going to go somewhere, and a bunch of them get together. And there's some people I heard, even though college isn't going, but there's people still having frat parties.
Yeah.
And that's been
But we're
an
still
issue,
having
too.
the unregulated gatherings,
Right,
Because
right.
that's why they're unregulated.
That's right, and that's the biggest problem. They can say for sure that 30% definitely came from that, but the funny thing is the other 70% they can't figure it out.
Now, for example, the gym opened. I love to go to the gym. Just for a couple of weeks it was open. And it was the cleanest place I'd been. Everybody's wiping their equipment between uses, and they're keeping us way far apart. And when they reclose it, I thought, well, that shouldn't be a problem, something like that. Same with the barbers. They're clean. They're trained by the state and licensed to be clean and stuff.
So that's really what the problem is all these businesses, okay, what you're probably safer going to the gym than you were going to Costco, Walmart,
Yeah.
Target,
Yeah.
those places. You're probably safer in the gym.
Yeah.
But oh no, we got to close that. That's part of the dimmer switch.
And what about the mask?
Masks are effective. I mean, they're not foolproof.
Right.
And I think I've actually seen some that are you see them on television. Excuse me. They are supposed to be they're copper, have some kind of copper wiring and something. But actually, my wife told me this, and I asked Dr. Vora once. He goes, "Oh yeah, your wife is right. If you can blow a candle out with your mask isn't any
It's
good."
worthless, yeah. Well, here's where I thought I go to Tower Market across the street here, and there's all these people just coughing, and people spit on the ground outside.
Yeah.
So all this stuff going on. This is right before the masks were, and I'm thinking, we've got this pandemic, and people are just coughing like it's nothing. Well, the mask holds that in. I would
Yes.
think that's where I
Yeah.
think it pays off.
But it's not foolproof. Nothing's bulletproof.
Right.
But it helps.
Okay. Now, here's something that gets in my, and whether you like President Trump or not, I'm not going to make a comment on that. But it seems to me from Washington, D.C. isn't the place to decide if our local schools open, or Sacramento, the governor's office isn't the place to decide if a Fresno County business should open. Shouldn't it be more local decision
Right. It
making?
really should be as local as you can get it down, at least down to the county level.
Yeah.
That's really what, and like I said, this whole dimmer switch deal with the governor is just, it's horse hockey.
This whole statewide dimmer switch, so people out in Tranquility and Huron had the same dimmer switches that people packed into LA with the virus.
Right,
so.
exactly. And a lot of this is just social behavior. And the biggest problem we've had is between people 18 and 45. Because people started in May, they just said, hey, we're tired of this.
Yeah.
We want to live our life.
Well,
And people started living their life,
Yeah.
and it went up. some of the problems, though, are especially in the rural and even here in town. There's a lot of Hispanics, and why it hits them so hard. They have a lot of 3 generations either living in the same house or they live next door, and they get together, and that's and that's probably one of the reasons why that demographic's been hit so hard.
Right.
And then people have a tendency. I actually live in a little poor rural community called Riverdale. The home of Alan Otter.
Sure.
Okay, and I live with everybody else. I don't live in a gated community. I live a block from Main Street. People can walk by my house or come to my house, but and I farm, so I'm around a lot of farm employees and what they do. And a lot of people have a tendency to get together at night. They just do that.
Yep.
And even you heard there was a lot of problems with these packing plants, especially meat packing plants. One in Hanford, one in Selma. Well, when they started investigating what was going on, these people were coming together on weekends and getting together after work.
As they have for all of history.
For they have always done it, because people are very social.
Yeah. Well, I find, I'm from the Tower District, and Tower, everyone wants a hug. I was never into all that hugging anyway.
Yeah.
So, but now it's good, because now people are separate, and I went out to a little dinner last night. We sat at the table, and we're just like 6 feet apart. We're not like close anymore. I think that's the way it needs to be. Outside is better, I think. And but when does this end? Do you see an end?
Don't see an end. That's one of the reasons why we're, really trying to always get bang out of our buck for these COVID dollars that we had. That
You got some federal funds?
Yeah, we actually got 81 million, and I think the city got 91 or 92 million.
81 million doesn't go so far, huh?
That's right, especially if you have a jail.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Okay, we've already spent $6 million on the jail. But actually I got a text the other day, and the sheriff's saying right now it's really getting under control.
Good.
There's a lot of people that are in the jail that had COVID that have now recovered, and now they're, let's just say that group's had herd immunity now.
Well, I know I'm making you give us a lot of answers where you don't have expertise. You're not a doctor or anything. But do you think people are going to be able to catch it again, or you think they're getting some immunity?
Well, nobody really knows that for sure. I think they're guessing that once you have it, you're okay for this strain. It's just like if but the thing is, it's a different type of strain than regular flu. COVID's more like the common cold, is what I've been told. And hopefully we can get a vaccine. That'll be the ultimate deal. But then you get a lot of people don't want to take vaccines.
Don't want to take vaccines. That's right. I don't want to be one of the first 30,000 or whatever getting it. So we'll let the Russians try it out first.
That's pretty dangerous. When even the World Health Organization saying, "Hey, wait a minute,
slow down a little bit." So, what we need to do, we need to take a quick break. And we're going to come back, and we're going to talk more about what's going on in the county. And we're going to keep you here just 15 more minutes, I promise. We'll be back right after these messages.
Pour yourself a glass of Crybaby wine, available at the market and Sam's Italian Deli. And remember to ask for Crybaby wine at your favorite restaurant.
Ghost Golf is Fresno's most spectacular family entertainment center. It's frightening how much fun you'll have on our 18-hole indoor haunted graveyard course. Skeletons welcome you, but watch out! All sorts of creatures may come to life. Ghost Golf is perfect for scary good parties, so book yours today. You'll get free plays at the Mummy Shooting Gallery, arcades, and air hockey. Check out our party and weekday specials online and like us on Facebook. Come play at family-friendly Ghost Golf. Good times will haunt you.
For all your real estate needs, call Juliet Tadich with Clovis First, 559-323-2213, or visit clovisfirst.com. That's CLOVIS, numeral 1, st.com. Whether you're looking to buy a home or sell a home, get a loan, or whatever the case may be, call Julia Tadich.
The Saga of Bridget and Amanda by Carol Love Forbes brings to life the struggles of historical women in early America. Find the Saga of Bridget and Amanda on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and order your copy today.
At Laulea Travels, we strive to make your vacation experience as relaxing as possible. From the time you start dreaming about it to the time you're sharing your vacation photos with your friends and coworkers. Our vow is to treat your vacation as if it were our own. If personal service, attention to detail, and years of travel experience are important to you, then let Laulea Travels plan your next dream vacation. Visit lauleatravels.com or call 559-360-1933.
Welcome back to Newsmakers, our COVID edition. We're going to have a COVID edition every week for maybe forever if this does not end. And I don't see an end, but we do have somebody who's involved with, I don't want to say solving the problem, but figuring out how we're going to proceed through the problem. Fresno County Supervisor Buddy Mendes.
Yeah, managing the problem, Mike.
Managing the problem. Yeah, there's no
problem.
solution.
Yeah, there's no solution. All you can do is manage it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me how this is affecting your income, the county's income.
You know, because most of our direct dollars, which, you know, we have a huge budget, but we only have really control over about $400 million. Mm-hmm. And most of that money comes by way of property tax, which is a very stable
So that's a
deal.
pretty stable. It's not up and down with the economy.
Right. So, you know, that's really helped a lot. Sales tax, I think, is only going to be down maybe 15-20% at the most, and that more affects cities. You know, because our deal is way less what we get. Yeah. So I think we're going to be all right. You know, we're still, you know, we don't know. You know, you never know about these things. So, you know, but like I told you before, we have to kind of manage our care dollars, and we don't want to be like the city. You know, the city doesn't actually have an apparatus. Like the county's got all kinds of apparatuses.
You've already been in the business.
We're in the business.
A lot of these things,
you know, a lot of these things, and a lot of running programs, and the city doesn't run programs. So one of the things, the way the city does stuff, it's almost like taking their COVID dollars and turn them into $1 bills and throwing them in a barrel and lighting them on fire. Yeah. You know, it's and then they say, oh, see, we spent it.
Yeah.
But in reality, they didn't get any bang for their buck. So what we have to do, we have benchmarks, and there's a lot of things that we have to do. Social Services actually has a whole litany of, okay, you get federal dollars, and they have to be audited. Here's how you spend them.
And that's how you receive money.
Right.
And you're used to doing it that way.
And we're used to doing it, and that's why with this COVID money, they basically took the templates from the health from the Social Service Department to the Health Department to actually, make sure you're spending this money correctly.
Now, the schools, I know they don't fall under your bailiwick, but who should be deciding if the school's open?
I think that should be the individual boards and the parents of the kids that go to that school.
Yeah, not the president or the governor or even the county supervisors. So,
correct.
Yeah.
But no school right now can start because the state's got a mandate out that, you know, if you're a private school and you don't get any state money, hey, you still can't start because the state holds all your credentials.
Right.
They can pull the credentials, and then your kids aren't accredited and they can't go on to college because they didn't go to an accredited school.
But I would imagine, that's right.
Yeah.
I would imagine some county, some little speck of a community somewhere in California is safe to open, but the governor's putting the blanket over the whole state.
Right.
Instead of maybe leaving it to the little community of the school boards.
Right, because they have to act like they're in control. See, it's like, I once told somebody, it's kind of like a Jedi mind trick, you know, that they're actually in control. In reality, they're not. But you know, they don't want to they don't want to let go of the, hey, we hold this over your head, so we're going to make you do what everybody has to do.
Well, one thing we used to say when I was in the state legislature, because one week somebody's a school board member, the next week they're elected to the state legislature, but now they're smarter than the local school board when that's where they were serving last week. So we say, it's the water in Sacramento makes you smarter or something like that.
Yeah, well, it gives you an illusion of smartness.
Illusion of
It's
influence,
all an
so.
illusion because we have some of the most, I would say, unqualified people in the state or in the state house.
That's right.
That's actually an asylum.
Asylum. Well, listen, Supervisor Betty Mendes, by the way, it's District 4.
District 4.
Which is from Coalinga all the way up to Selma.
Yeah, it's
really.
actually from Monterey County all the way just on the other side of Orange Cove.
It's probably the largest area district.
Yeah, I actually
Supervisor.
have two cities that are 100 miles apart.
100 miles apart.
And I live right
Right.
between them.
And I
So
always-
it's basically 49 miles each way.
I always tell people New York City to Newark, New Jersey is closer than the two further cities in your district.
Correct.
And so, but they're lumping them all together.
Right.
You know, all these deaths in Fresno, it's really a big area.
Right, and there's 1 million people in Fresno. I think, if you...
Fresno County.
Fresno County. And I think one of the best things to do, Steve Brandow has a deal that he puts out, and it's his dashboard. And you need to look at that because it's kind of interesting. It actually shows the dashboard in reality to the amount of people that actually live there.
Yeah.
So, you got to remember we got 1 million people. So if we had 17,000 or 18,000 have been tested positive, then you do the math. That's really not a lot of the population.
Very small
Here's
number,
another
yeah.
thing. The testing numbers are fake because, if you get tested, Mike, you're only going to get counted the maximum 2 times. Once if you're negative, twice if you're positive. But if you take it, and a lot of people take, a test every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks because they're working in the health care industry and they have to, they're only counted 1 time. So there's probably, like right now, there's about 2,400 tests a week being done.
Yeah.
There's probably more like 3,000.
Well, listen, I've got all these questions I'm asking you. What do you want to tell us about your district, the county, what's going on, where we need to be, where we're going to be in a year or so?
Yeah, well, this COVID deal is just completely, taken over everything. Still one of our biggest problems, if we get down to it, still water. We have to go. We're going through Sigma right now. It's gonna, we have to do 1 year blocks in it. Reporting. In 2025, we're already going to have to start, showing that we're inside the track, of where we're at. But yet, the whole west side of this county, we have the state government working against us.
Right.
And we're not getting, they actually, the Interior Department did a great job, with, getting the biological opinion out. So what does the state do? Sue them because they actually, the state wants to use an old biological opinion that's not any good. They don't want to use good science
Right.
because that's, it kind of follows their masters because they're controlled by NRDC and the far left.
Well, while COVID is going on and it's paralyzed the state and the county, you've got all these other things to think about. Then water, you got to keep pursuing and
Oh
working
yeah,
on that.
that goes on. We've got air. I'm on the San Joaquin Valley Unified Air Pollution Control District. It's an 8-county deal.
Yeah.
None of that goes away.
Doesn't go away. You got to
Doesn't
keep
go
going.
away.
So can't just shut it down. But that's all we hear about is COVID on the news. We
Yeah.
don't get a lot of water news.
No,
or air news right
and
now.
a lot of the COVID coverage is pretty bad because some of these people report it like it's a baseball game.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we got, here, instead of hits, runs, and errors, it's, we have this many cases, this many deaths, this many recoveries. What's recovery deals? Another fake deal.
Yeah.
It's instead of paying attention to the real deal, which is hospitalization. And actually, hospitalizations actually went down a little bit.
Right.
Here's an interesting thing with hospitalizations. Right now, the hospitals will tell you, oh, yeah, we've had some of the fullest hospitals we've ever had. Well, what happened was early on that they kind of expanded their footprint. inside the hospital, took areas that they normally didn't have patients, made sure they can put patients there. So instead of being 100% full, which normally hospitals are 100% full, you've got, I don't know if you had to take your parents to the hospital. What happens? You end up in ER and you can't get a room. That was that way before you got COVID. But now the hospitals are at 120% capacity, so they can claim, hey, we're at 115% capacity. We've never been that full.
Never been that full. Well, listen, as I said before we started the interview, I'm glad you're there.
Yeah.
Supervisor Buddy Mendes is watching out for us there for the whole county.
Yeah.
And it's a lot to figure out.
Right. And I always tell people, look, I'm not a politician. I'm a farmer masquerading as one.
As a politician, yeah. So you're just making good common sense decisions.
That's it.
Like
I don't want to be in a different office.
Yeah.
If somebody came to me, in fact, one time somebody said, hey, if this person doesn't run, why don't you run for, Congress?
Yeah.
And I said, hey, and I knew the Speaker of the House at the time. I go, hey, if he came and asked me, I'd tell him no. I'd help him go find somebody.
Right. Well, listen, we're out of time. Our guest is Supervisor Buddy Mendes, District 4 County Board of Supervisors. He's one of 5 people there making the decisions for us for the county, and he's doing a great job. And even when there's not a lot of good decisions to make, you just got to kind of trudge through it, huh?
That's right. You just have to do the best you can.
We'll be back with more Newsmakers right after this.
Highlights, balayage, color, extensions, cuts, pure Brazilian blowouts, treatments. Contact Jordan Myers at Hair by Jordan. Did you know most hair and beauty salons in the Central Valley are not disposing of their chemicals correctly? Partner with us today to become an eco-friendly salon. Visit us online at greenbeautywaste.com. Our phone number is 559-367-7206. And be sure to visit us on Instagram and Facebook at Green Beauty Waste.
Is everything in life draining you? Come to Stretch 360. Our professional staff can offer you many options for relaxation like deep tissue or hot stone massages, infrared medical grade sauna. Once you leave us, you'll look and feel like $1,000,000. Stretch 360. Relaxation is only a stretch away.
Welcome back to Newsmakers with Mike Briggs. So we've been here since 2008 doing this show. Can you believe it? We're getting people who make the news, people running for office, people passing laws, people breaking laws even we've had on our show. But today we got one of the good guys. We have, I know the name, darn it, Cotta. Help me, Cotta. What's the first name?
Todd.
Todd Cotta. I got it. I'm at that age where I'm forgetting names.
That's okay.
So you're running for the California State Legislature. That is awesome, Todd. What district is that? And tell me where the boundaries are.
The 32nd District was remapped about 8 years ago. It includes all of Kings County and what you would consider the farming half of Kern County, which is all North County, all the way down to I-5 and 99 and back up to Arvin and Lamont.
So just Kings and part of Kern.
All of Kings.
All of Kings. Okay. So that's all of Hanford.
Hanford, Lemoore, Avenel, Stratford, Kettleman City, and then Delano, McFarland, Shafter, Wasco, Arvin, Lamont.
Yeah, that's a lot of area to cover for you.
I was down there this morning, and it takes a long time to get down to the bottom of the district.
Yeah. Mostly up and down 99?
Yep.
Okay. Now, you already had an election. Now, the opponent, I don't know if we want to even say his name, because I've never heard of him. I'm in Fresno. I've never heard of the guy.
Rudy Solid.
Solis or something. Yeah, Rudy,
yes, Rudy
Solis. Okay, so maybe he's doing things, maybe he's not, but we sure don't read about him in our newspaper. And we're the same region here. We're the same. Our broadcast area covers that whole area down there, and we just haven't heard much from him. By the way, he's invited. We're not gonna call him to come on, but he's invited to come here too. So,
Sure.
But weirdly, how the election laws now are, there's a primary, but it's not a party primary. Is that right?
Correct. There was only Rudy was running in the very beginning part of this. Nobody else put in. I was asked by our central committee here to consider it, and after thinking about my qualifications, I don't know who could be more qualified than me to run for this office.
Yeah. Now, so by the way, you were a deputy sheriff, I think.
Yes, Monterey County for 3 years and just over 17 years with Fresno County Sheriff.
Oh, you're a Fresno County too. Okay, and you own a.
Yeah, you can see it right back behind me here.
All right, there you go. You have a pretty interesting business there. Are you in Hanford? Is that your business in Hanford?
Yeah, we have an indoor gun range in Hanford.
Okay, and interesting. We just had on Rick Travis from the California Rifle and Pistol Association was on right before you, and he said we should vote for you.
He's a good guy. I know him really well. We talk all the time.
Good, good. So you got the backing of those sorts of groups. Now, I was looking at the numbers in that race. Like I was going to say, there was already a face-off between you and Solis. And
Yep.
Was it in March? And
March 3rd, we had our first election. I got about 60% in Kings County, and I got in the mid-30s in Kern County. But that's his home, and this is my home, so it reflected our home.
Yeah. I ran the numbers, and even though he got more votes than you, there's another election. It's going to be an identical election in November between the same two people.
Yes.
If you had, I calculated, I think, 10,000 more Republican votes, you're going to win this thing. And I also ran the numbers. There's over 10,000 Republicans who didn't even vote. So if they'll just get up and go to the polls, we could take the seat away from not we, because I'm impartial here. The Republicans take the seat away from the Democrats.
Absolutely. Now, understand this. There's a lot of Democrats right now that are very upset with Governor Newsom and the Democrats up in Sacramento.
Right.
And that's going to give me a little bit of help also, because they are not in any mood to vote for any Democrats right now, the way they've been running this state.
Yeah. And without even those Democrats, there's enough votes out there for you to win, but people have to get up and go vote. I want to ask you about some of these things that happen. Now, I was in the legislature for a while, and I've stopped reading the news and paying so much attention. But in the meantime, there's some laws that passed. I think the voters voted on them, but they had funny names that didn't really represent what they meant. Do you know anything about those? Is it Prop 40?
You mean like the Safe Schools and Neighborhood Act, Prop 47, that delegalized drugs and released prisoners from prisons?
Yeah. So we think we're making the neighborhood safe and the schools safe, because that's what the ballot title said. But tell us what happened there. It slipped by me, by the way, and I pay a little bit of attention to things.
Well, I was working on patrol when Prop 47 came into, because we have AB 109, Prop 57, and then Prop 47, the trifecta that has released over 200,000 California prisoners back into society. The final one was Prop 47, and that one was called the Safe Schools and Neighborhood Act. That act decriminalized narcotics, and it released more prisoners from jail. Now, how that equates to safe schools and neighborhoods, when you're a Democrat in a Democrat state with a Democrat supermajority and a Democrat Secretary of State, you can name lollipops and roses, whatever you want to name it, if it's going to help you. But if it's against you, they're going to name it the killing of our children and the horrid destruction of our schools, or whatever they want to call it, if they don't like it. Right. But if they like it, they'll name it whatever they want.
Well, here's how I found out what the law was and why it passed. Is I had a friend of mine, he had had some problems with cocaine, and the judge sentenced him to get a drug test every week. So I said, well, you come to work for me, and I'm going to drive you to your test every week. I'm going to take you there personally, make sure you get in there. I pay for the test and everything. After that bill passed, I went to pick him up and take him in. And by the way, he was doing great. He was doing marvelous. This is what he needed with those weekly testing. When that passed, I mean, the day after it passed, he goes, oh, I don't have to go do that anymore.
As a deputy sheriff, I had to work the courts every once in a while, filling in overtime, and they were short-staffed. They'd send us down there. I've worked in the drug court down there. Now, hold on one second.
Go ahead.
The drug court had to close my door.
That's all right.
The drug courts down there, I was there when the social worker, the probation officer, and the family was in court because the mother had been through a drug rehab program and successfully got through it over 18 months. They had cake in there. The kids were rejoined with the mother, all those things, because we had the hammer of law to give them the ability to have the fear, you might say, of the law to get them better. But once they decriminalized it, every drug clinic, every help clinic for these people that need the help the most vanished.
Yeah, and in my case, my friend, I drove him to all the drug testing and stuff. The day that the law passed, he didn't have to go there anymore, and now we've totally lost him to drugs. And you're right, it's a fear of the consequence. That's why we didn't sneak the cookie out of the cookie jar, because there's a consequence to it. But I guess we removed the consequences. And
also at the same time, Prop AB 109, Prop 57, and Prop 47, our homeless problem has been off the charts. And now California owns 20% of all homeless people in America.
Yeah, and in my neighborhood, the homeless issue is so obvious and apparent that something happened that it changed. I mean, they're everywhere. Even if they're offered free homes or places to stay, they don't want to get off the streets, and
nope.
There's no consequence. What are you going to arrest them? They don't keep people in jail anymore, so they have to do something really, really bad to end up and stay in jail. This is Assembly District 32. If you're watching, we're going to take a break in a minute. But our guest is Todd Cotta. Have you ever been in the dairy business? All the Cottas I know are in the dairy business.
You know, my grandfather had a dairy in Layton. My dad worked on that as a kid. I have worked on a dairy before. I have farmed all over the Central Valley from Stratford up to Layton with my dad over the last 40 years. I was 10 years old driving tractor with him. So as being a deputy, I was also a water district supervisor for Laguna Irrigation District for 12 years, and I farmed also. So I was pretty busy. We can't talk about this more now. We got to break their signal, but you're a pretty good fit for this district. Listen, you're watching Newsmakers with Mike Briggs. Our guest is Todd Cotta. He's running for the state legislature, the state assembly, District 32. All of Kings County and part of Kern County. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come back and we're going to drill them on some tough questions. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Newsmakers. We've been here for since 2008, long running talk show. We have guests like we have here. See which way. Todd Cotta isn't here. He's remotely. We can't get guests to come in anymore because of this crazy COVID virus. Todd, times are crazy out there. What's going on? I'm glad I'm not a decision maker right now, but it's affecting businesses and schools, and you're going to have a lot to tackle once you get to Sacramento. Well, I think the first thing we need to tackle when we get to Sacramento is taking this authority away from the governor. If we can get 4 Republicans to win right now in these races, we're going to take away that supermajority. And I am positive there is Democrats out there that are sick of what the governor is doing to us right now and taking away our small businesses. And right now, small businesses are dying while multinational companies are growing like Walmart, like Target. All these stores can stay open, but the mall where my good friend works at was closed yesterday again because of this governor. So the small guy gets stepped on while the big guys just get richer, and I am sick of it. We have to take this authority away from the governor and never let him close this state down again, at least not without the approval of the Assembly and the Senate at the same time.
Right, he's just unilaterally doing that. I noticed that here in Fresno County, from Fresno to Firebaugh is further than the distance between New York City and Newark, New Jersey. We're the size of a state, for goodness sakes. And for one governor to be casting some rule for all of us, maybe it belongs in the hands of the Board of Supervisors. I don't know.
Absolutely. But then the governor doesn't have control, and he is all about control, just like it is with the schools right now. He is keeping funding for these schools, but he's taking funding away from charter schools because the CTA doesn't like charter schools and charter teachers because they're actually doing it right. And if they're not in line with the CTA, they don't want anything to do with it. So charter schools are suffering now. Great schools that teach great kids, and yet they're not getting the funding they need to do their job. I was on a great video conference with him the other day with Vince Fong, who is the assemblyman for down in the Bakersfield, Tehachapi area. And it's a big concern for all these parents that want choice for their kids but are not allowed it because the CTA and the governor are all working together to hurt education.
Right. I guess it should belong back in local control would be the best, but to have unchecked power by the governor is kind of scary. Like you said, no legislative.
And they gave it to him a little over a year ago. They gave him this power, maybe because they knew this was coming. I don't know. But I am sick of this governor running around like he knows everything, and he is killing small business. Yeah. He is killing my friends. He's killing all these people. Suicide rates in the state are through the roof. There was a study out of Santa Clara that said one of the doctors has seen more suicides in the last 90 days to 120 days that he will see in a complete year because of this lockdown. Isolation for these kids is a bad thing. Matter of fact, I'll go even as far as saying that kids need to be exposed to viruses if they're going to get an immune system. So do we. We cannot sit here and hide under a rock because this virus isn't going to go away until it gets through our society.
Yeah, now, I have a couple complaints about the governor. One is that I try to watch those press conferences, and he uses like 100 or 200 words to say something that he could say in 5 words. I just can't stand to keep watching the guy. But now...
That's why we have a recall petition right down here at my counter at the store. We're the Kings County hub for the recall for Gavin Newsom.
Right. And I just hate to see Hanford or Delano or any of these. Is Dinuba in your district?
No, Dinuba is over in Devin Mathis's district over near.
But all these small towns are getting the same rules to follow as LA and as San Francisco, who, you know, the virus is out of control there, but I don't think it's out of control in these small towns, and maybe it's better to give a little more local control on these issues.
Well, remember, the virus is showing up more because they're testing more, but the death rate is going down while the virus numbers are going up, and that's normal.
Right.
That's normal. And there are different things that can help mitigate the symptoms of the virus, but yet the pharmaceutical companies and the government do not want to talk about that because it's all about taking care of multinational companies. I am tired of it. There is things we can do to help ourselves, but yet we're being controlled by the government, and that has to stop.
Right. Now, I heard you got some endorsements just in the last few days, and I want to hear about those and some other people or organizations that are behind your candidacy.
I tell you, Shannon Grove today has come out and endorsed me, and also Devin Nunes has come out and now endorsed me, and really excited about that. I've known Devin for a very long time. I was helping him on his very first campaign for Congress, and it's just great to see him recognizing what we can do here on the assembly level. Devin Mathis over in the Visalia-Tulare area for assembly has endorsed me also. I've met with many different organizations trying to work with endorsement, but as you know, public entities like associations for the deputy sheriffs and cops are very reluctant to endorse because of the, how do I say this nicely, the retribution they will get if they are found to have endorsed a Republican by the Democrats. And it's unfortunate that we have to live in a society where there's that kind of simple-minded thinking. Instead of thinking about what's best for the people, they try to think what's best for them and their campaign and their candidacy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to go up against the incumbent who's in office voting on salaries and wages and rules for police organizations, and you know you want to endorse you over the guy who's writing their paycheck almost or voting on their raise or something like that. So that's tough.
At the end of the day, local agencies don't have much influence with the state assembly. It's a local problem. It's the local county supervisors and city councils that make those things up. It's my job to bring an economy to California that brings everything up in California and gets rid of homelessness so that we can have more money to pay the people that protect us. But you can't just arbitrarily make a number for these people if there's no economy to back them.
Now tell me, we covered this a little, but you've had some jobs that make you, and businesses, make you uniquely qualified and a good fit for this district and its location. Tell us about those.
Well, primarily, in the last 30 years, I have worked in radio as a DJ. That's how I kind of got started as an adult, and then I went straight into law enforcement. I did 21 years in law enforcement. As a child, all the way up through my law enforcement years, I farmed with my dad, walnuts, almonds, peaches, corn, alfalfa, you name it, we've grown it. I've driven many, many tractors in my day, and I've made many, many midnight runs for irrigation in my day. Also, during that time, I was elected as a supervisor for the Laguna Irrigation District, and that is 28,000 acres of farmland that we provide water for through the Kings River watershed. And that's part of the Kings River Water Association and the Kings River Conservation District that I've had to work with them for 12 years in dealing with the water issues in the Central Valley. Then you add in 2012, I started the King's Gun Center here in Hanford. It was a small little tiny store. I went from a little loan to make a store happen to a nice big indoor range and gun store right here in downtown Hanford in less than 3 years. And now we're 5.5 years in here at the gun store. And it's been great, except for the fact that this coronavirus has really disrupted our industry very bad when it comes to getting firearms and ammunition. It's very difficult to do business these days, but we're gonna push through, and we're gonna make it through all this, and hopefully get back to normal here, maybe at the end of the year.
Now, did your wife or kids just get home and they're banging all the doors shut or something? What's the racket going on?
No,
over
what
there?
you're hearing is the sounds of America, freedom, right over here, right behind my office, and down on the bottom floor is range 1 of our 2 ranges, and there's people down there right now exercising their rights as Americans to own and possess firearms, and it's a beautiful thing to hear for me.
Yeah, I was wondering what all those bangs were. Hey, a couple more issues. We got about 5 minutes left. High-speed rail. What's going on with that?
You know, high-speed rail is really unique. In Hanford right here, we have a big construction project, and there's been rumors that it's all getting canceled and it's all being closed. Please understand, those are lies, and those are rumors that are spread by people who want you to believe that it's over. It is not over. They are making a rail to nowhere to go from Stockton to Bakersfield, and they are not going to make it any bigger than that because they can't afford it. It's already overrun quite a bit of its original funding, and they had to quit 2 different legs of it on both ends of the state. But here's what I'll tell you. They moved gas tax money to the train to help pay for that train. And we're trying to figure out how's gas tax money getting moved to the train and not to the road. Kings County, right here in my own county, I had a elected official come to me and tell me that they just got the news that they cannot get a dime from gas tax money to improve their roads. Not a dime. And here's why. In order to get $1 from gas tax money, you have to match it $1 in matching funds from your own county budget. Wow. A poor county like Kings County does not have extra money to put towards these projects they desperately need in this county to make gas tax money be released to the county. So, because we don't have the money to do this project, they won't give us any money to help with it. Now they have extra money in the gas tax fund that they can ship over to the high-speed rail. It was a shell game from the beginning when it came to this gas tax. And why the voters didn't vote it down last election blew my mind. We have the most nuts voters in the Bay Area and in LA. I don't know how they even have the ability to put a pencil to paper.
Yeah, and by
when
the
it's as simple as, do you want to pay less to the government or not?
Right. And by
That's
the way,
an easy answer.
LA and San Francisco get all the gas tax funds they want for their roads, and LA's a city and a county, and San Francisco's a city and a county. They're getting double. That's and none for Kings. Yeah, it's none for Kings.
Yep.
And we have the highest gas tax in anywhere in the United States, I think, don't we?
First or second, but I think this next one will make us the number 1. This next increase.
Well, we just have a couple minutes left, Todd. I just want to give you a minute to say anything you want.
Well, I tell you a few things. When anybody ever talks to me, they're not going to get the runaround. They're not going to get what you call 1,000 words for a small statement. They're going to get how I feel and how I best believe this state should be led. And I'm ready for the challenge, and I really do hope that I can get the word out in Kern County. I was in meetings all morning long in Kern County working with promotions people to get my name out down there so that I can pick up that 8-9% that I need to pick up And that takes away, that'll go over and above, because I got to make at least 5,000 more votes to account for fraud that's happening inside the elections. Just like Valadeo, he was up 5,000 on election night, and by the 30th day, he was down 862. That's how they win, is they cheat, and I have to get more votes than they can cheat. And it's going to be difficult, but I'm going to do it.
Yep. Yeah, I know that is, that's a problem. The fraud is horrible in this area. Tell us, how can people help? Do you have a website? Where can someone start if they want to find out more about you?
CottaForAssembly.com is my website, CottaForAssembly.com. And when you go on there, we have a fundraiser coming up at my gun center on the 27th of this month. You can also go to Contribute Now. We are in desperate need of funds for digital advertising, for TV, and for radio. We got to get the name out there down in Kern County. We got to get it going. I'm very happy with my people here in Kings County. We're going to do a little bit here, but our focus is getting my numbers up in Kern County. And it's going to take dollars, and that's the only way it is. And when I'm up against the super funds that my opponent has, I've got to spend a lot of time face-to-face down there and just getting to know the people, because I don't have the ability to just flood the web and flood the television with information. So that means I got to get out there and one-on-one and make it happen.
Very good. Our guest is Todd Cotta. He's running for the state legislature down in all of Kings County and part of Kern County. If you live down there and you want some change, here's a guy who's offering you real live change. But he needs the voters to get out and vote. He has enough votes to win, voters to win. He just needs to get them to the polls. Go to his website, CottaForAssembly.com. Thank you, Todd. I know you're swamped right now. Thanks for coming on our show. And we'll have you back again before the election, I hope.
Well, I would love to be. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All righty. You've been watching Newsmakers with Mike Briggs. I am Mike Briggs, and we will see you next Wednesday right here at the same time. Wednesdays at 3 p.m., CentralValleyTalk.com, YouTube, Facebook, all those other places. We'll be back with another show. Don't go anywhere. Another show starts right now. We'll be right back.
When you need to get fit, contact Gary Torres, IFBB Pro, specializing in weight loss, body transformations, and contest prep. Email Gary Torres 5336@yahoo.com.
Hey, I'm Chris DeVold. Tune in every Friday night on CentralValleyTalk.com when I bring you Sex, Drugs, Chris DeVold, where I'll give you 3 guesses on what we talk about. And I also vow to bring you 1 live local music act a week. So tune in every week, because you never know what kind of music you're going to hear right here on CentralValleyTalk.com.
The Space Colony Journals are an epic tale of a family's struggle to survive. Meet the courageous women and dangerous men who dare to carve a home on the alien world of Vensu. Get your copy today. Available on Amazon and Gail Daly's FineArt.com.
You enter this door with expired tags. Beyond is another dimension, a dimension of regulations, a dimension of long waits. You have reached the registration zone. What looks like an ordinary shop is actually Mitchell Smog, located in the heart of the Tower District, a few minutes from the DMV. Mitchell Smog offers your vehicle a STAR-certified smog inspection. So remember Mitchell Smog when you need to pass through the registration zone.
Termites? Gone. Ants? Gone. Call San Joaquin Pest Control at 291-2200 or visit them online at sanjoaquinpestcontrol.com to take care of your pest problem today.
Carol Code. The Valley's leader for no-cost energy upgrade. Now installing AC motors, Nest thermostats, insulation, and more. COVID-19 safe. Call Carol Co. at 559-396-3939 and visit carolco.net.